All right, it's Laura with Following the Paper Trail, and we are going to be working on the page A for the album that we're going to be doing on National Scrapbook Day 2019. I've already done the video showing how the binding gets started and made the covers. So next up, we're going to be making the pages. But I want to tell you a little bit more about the inspiration for this album. 2019 is my 10-year anniversary in paper crafting. And so over the course of the next year, I am going to be revisiting some old projects for inspiration for some fresh and new projects. So the inspiration for this one comes from the very first tutorial I did, which is for this butterfly album that I designed back in 2009. It's hard to believe that it's been 10 years with this one. And this was before everybody had die cuts and all this stuff. So it's been fun looking at this and kind of reminiscing a bit. But with this one, it had these shaped pages that were shaped like a butterfly, and then the tags all pulled out for you to attach photos. I had some butterfly quotes on there. These on the lower section also pulled out, and it's got this little piece here that allowed for you to tuck those pockets in. So I wanted to revisit this one, but I didn't necessarily want to make it a shaped album. 10 years ago, we were making albums that had tiny little tags, and they were quite literally small mini albums. In fact, this one was probably considered large at the time. So I wanted to revisit that, but kind of bring it into 2019 by doing some things a little bit differently. So with this one, I've done a new binding that allows for a thick spine on the book itself. It's sized, it's 11 inches tall by the cover, I think it's like 7.5 inches wide. We're tending to do albums a lot bigger these days. We have lots of flaps, lots of interactive portions to it. So that's not something new. We've been doing interactive bits and pieces for a while. Now this is the raw book. I'm just getting started on embellishing it, but it has 5 pages. So the first page, again, it's got lots of pieces and parts to it. The first page is what we're going to be constructing on this video. The second page style is what we are going to do in the second video. There's 3 page A's and 2 page B's. Excuse me. So with page A, I'm also, something I kind of became known for over the years was using envelopes a lot in my albums. So I kind of brought that back in by having a couple envelopes that attach to a narrow band on one side. One attaches on the front, one attaches on the back. Both of them are cut open to form pockets at the top. I've attached them asymmetrically just to give it a little bit more interest. You could turn them both the same way. It really is up to you as to how you want to do those, but this is how I've attached them on. Then a large surface area to feature either a couple of photos, a pattern paper, that sort of thing. And I will be covering also these pockets on the flap with pattern paper. On the inside, it has a narrower flap and a tall flap. The tall flap can stay as a flap, so this can gatefold, or this can be attached on the sides, which is what I will most likely do. But I will be attaching that as I am decorating the inside of the pages, and there will be videos from the live show that we're doing on National Scrapbook Day that will show off how I end up either leaving it as a flap or turning it into a pocket. In the center of each of these page A's is a different center pocket. It's kind of a secondary portion of the page, as I talked about with the excuse me, the binding that I'm using on this, which I am calling undercordion binding. It kind of has two steps to the pages. There's this 1/2 inch section sleeve that slips down over the tabs of the binding, and then a 1/2 inch of the little tabs all project up, and the center section slips over and attaches to those. But on each of the pages, the center section is different. On this one, it's got another envelope that forms a pocket in the middle, and it's attached. Each end is attached to a different side of the pocket. So then that forms a pocket here, the pocket of the envelope, and another pocket down here. This other side has the two flaps, just like it did on this side. So you can make one side a pocket and one side a flap, both pockets, both flaps. It's going to be entirely up to you how you want to do that. And then on the back side, it also has the envelopes just like I did on the front. This also is attached so that this is a narrow little pocket here for you to slip a tag or some sort of ephemera in. Let me real quick show you page B, though we won't be assembling that in this video. That will be in the next video. Page B has an accordion section on it, so it has a large area, and then this is a flap, but this can also be attached down to where this is a pocket, with this is flapped, and also to have a narrow pocket that, again, I will be attaching while I'm decorating this. So this can be accordion, or it can be pocket with a flap with a second pocket. And that's on the cover. On both the front and the back, it's done the same way. They're symmetrical pages. This also has the tall flap. It doesn't have the other flap that page A does. It just has this tall flap that can be a pocket or a flap. I'm probably going to do it as on a pocket. Now this center section, excuse me, my allergies are kicking up. The center section of this one is where I have brought in the same template as I have on my Flutterby. It doesn't have to be. It can also just be a straight rectangular flap, and inside there's two pockets, and then it closes on the other side. I'm going to actually have this decorated the same as this. Now, this entire tutorial, as you're finding, because I'm having it here, it's a free tutorial. I have a supply list and cutting guide that I'm putting up over on my website that you can download. The only thing it will not have in it in the free tutorial is the templates used for the butterfly sections, because I'm using those directly from this pattern. I will have this pattern available at a discounted price if you want to purchase this one to do your pockets the way I'm doing in this album. You don't have to. It can be done with a rectangular section instead of the butterfly. And I will be talking more about that one when we work on that page. So the first page, we had the center section had an envelope. The second page, everything is constructed the same except the center. And on this one, I've used two coin envelopes. This is a pass-through type of pocket here. It forms a pocket up here and a pocket, obviously, inside the coin purse or coin envelope. Again, a pass-through pocket. This forms a pocket, and this forms a pocket. So you end up with 4 pockets in this center section. So that's on the third page. Fourth page, that's the butterfly in the middle. And then the fifth page, again, the same sort of thing. This one I goofed up the size. I made it too tall, so I have to remake it. That's why it's not attached in. Here you can see those tabs from the binding. And this one has some flapped. This is attached so that this forms a pocket, and then there's an open pocket here on the back side. It's attached to form a pocket and a pocket here. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to construct this page A, which we'll make 3 of, and the 3 different center sections for that. And then in this next video, I'll be showing you how to do the page B, which has the butterfly, and it's also has some flaps that are going on the front and back covers. So I'll go ahead and set that off to the side. Oops, hit the camera. That wasn't good. Get it all cattywampus. As you can see, doing these videos for 10 years, I'm still the one-shot wonder. I don't edit things out. It is what it is. My life as it happens. My dogs will bark. My kids don't interrupt quite as much anymore. They are now 21 and 18, if you can believe it. When I started, they were 11 and 8. So it's amazing. They've grown up while I've been doing these YouTube videos. So it's rather bizarre when you think about it. All right, with this page, you'll have two 8.5 by 11 sheets. I'm trimming them down to 8.5 by 10.25. I will be using my own digital paper on these, and my usable area of the pages is 8 by 10. So I tend to make my pages now 10.25 so that my paper fits on there. You can use your own paper from your stash, or I also have the paper available that I'm going to be using on this project available on my website. The beauty of digital papers is you can print them out at home. You can print out as many sheets as you need. You can have the papers to mix and match with other collections for as long as you choose to keep them. So once you've purchased them, you can print them out for your own use. Please don't be printing them out for others, but printing them out for your own use, as many copies of it as you want. It's not like buying a pad of paper. When it's gone, it's gone. So, all right. So down one side, you will have a 1/2 inch and a 1/4 inch channel. So 1/2 inch, this is going to be my binding sleeve, and this is just to allow for the thickness of those flaps and folds and flips and doodles and stuff on the inside. This is then that narrow flap that the envelopes will attach to, and it's 1.5 inches wide. You'll do 2 of those sheets exactly the same, 8.5 by 10.25 with a 1/2 inch and a 1/4 inch channel, and a 1.5 inch channel on the other side. 2 of them scored the exact same way. You're also going to need 4 envelopes, and I believe these are A2 envelopes, or A2. So, but you can use whatever size envelopes that you have. You can make your own envelopes, whatever you want in terms of that. Now, 2 of them, I've glued the flap down, and I've sliced them open. So 2 of them I've sliced it open on the top, and 2 of them I've sliced it open on the side. Now, the anal part of me has it to where, so I've cut this one so that it's 4.5 inches tall. I just wanted to cut it to where it's at a nice, easy, even number. And these, I've cut them so they are 5.5 inches tall. So 2 on the side, 2 on the top. So we can set those aside. You're going to have 2 5.5 by 8.5. So you'll take it 8.5 by 11 sheet and cut it in half across the width. You're going to score and fold a 1/2 inch tab along one side of each of those. And you're going to then take another 8.5 by 11 sheet and cut it down the center, down its length, to have 2 4.25 inch, and these need to also be trimmed to the 10.25 height. Don't need to do any further trimming to the 5.5 by 8.5, but the 4.25 by 8.5 you need to trim, or 11, 4.25 by 11 needs to be trimmed down to 10.25 inches tall. All right. The other thing that you will need is 2 tabs that are 1.5 inches long by just under 1/2 inch, kind of a little bit more than 3/8, but under 1/2 inch. So you'll cut 2 of those, because that's how we're going to form our sleeve. So we're going to take these, you can score them, but I'm just going to fold mine in half. I've already got some score tape on them. You can glue them if you prefer. but these are going to then attach those together. Now I put these on the outside. It's out of the same cardstock as what the pages are, so it's not going to show, and I cover them over with some pattern paper. So I'm just attaching that on that 1/2 inch section. Now I have this 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch score folded so that this bows out and around the center section. There, now you can see it. So I'll do the same down at this other end. Just line up that corner, then line up the fold line of the tab and wrap it around. Hold that in place. So then that forms the sleeve of how to attach it to our binding. We can go ahead and fold these flaps to the outside. So there's our basis of our page. We can then open this up on the inside. And we're going to attach our taller ones. We're going to fold the tab under, and it's going to attach along that fold line. You don't want to go over the fold line because it doesn't fold very well if you cover it over. So I'm just going to put some tape on. Now you will be making 3 of these pages. Now when you are embellishing and papering this album, you can add as many or as few additional pockets and smaller flaps, that sort of thing, as you choose. Okay, on these 5.5 by 8.5, I'm also scored and folded that 1/2 inch tab. So I'm also going to put some tape on those. So, all right, these guys, as I said, are going to go next to that fold, and it's on each side of that center section. So, lining this up along the bottom and placing it right next to the fold. Now you can do this with glue as well if that's your preference. Glues and adhesives are very subjective, and if glue works better for you and your climate and your availability of product, that's the way to go. For speeds purposes, I'm using the score tape. So that allows that to either be a flap, or if it attaches down along the sides, it can be a pocket. Again, that's going to be your choice as to which you prefer that to be. Now I'm going to take this guy. As you can see in here, real quick, I have made it somewhat asymmetrical. I'm 1/2 inch from the bottom and about 1 inch down from the top because I want to put maybe a little tab on here, because that is a visual cue that that is a flap that opens up by putting a tab. And so by dropping it down a little bit lower, that kind of gives you a little bit of room to be able to do that. If you prefer to have it centered, by all means, go ahead and do that. Now I am taking this right out to the edge. So I'm 1/2 inch from the bottom, and I'm placing the fold right along that edge. You can also make this one low, this one high. So if you want to make it more asymmetrical, you can totally do that as well. Pull that under. Again, I'm 1/2 inch from the bottom. Placing that fold right along that edge. So that is essentially the basis of our page. Now I'm going to take my envelopes, and I'm going to take one that is open at the top and one that's open at the side. Now, it doesn't matter which one goes on the front or which one goes on the back, but as you can see on here, I've taken the one that's open at the top. I've had that on the front, and the one open on the the side, I've turned the envelope on this, or this one I've turned it on the side, so it's open on the side, it's on the top, the open on the top is on the bottom, if that makes any sense. And then I did the mirror image of that, or the opposite of that on here, where I've got the wide one at the top and the tall one on the bottom. Doesn't matter either way that you want to do it. You can do them all the same throughout. You can do them all different. It really doesn't much matter. So I'm just going to place this to where I want it. So I want it, about 1/4 of an inch from the top. And I want it about 1/8 of an inch out from this fold line. So if I place it on this in the location where I want it, I can then make a very light little pencil mark, and then I can fold this out of the way, holding it in place. I can then run a U-shaped bead of glue so that it becomes a little pocket up to that pencil line and along the bottom close to the edge, and then I fold this over on top of it. So it then becomes a pocket here. This is going to get covered with pattern paper, but when I flip it over here, it's in the placement of where I want it. So that one's on the back side, and the one that's the other one, the one that's open at the top, I'm going to put on the front side. And I'm going to have it again be about 1/8 of an inch in from that fold. And then I'm going to have it overlap, about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch. Because I want at least 1/2 an inch here up at the top so that my tag doesn't stick up too far beyond the page. But I want it to extend beyond the envelope a little bit. So I can go ahead and I'm going to mark just on the very edge the placement. Now I would probably just eyeball this glue, but I know most people are going to want to mark it. So again, I'm going to do it in a U shape, close to but not crossing over where that mark is, and running the glue close to the edge, making sure my opening is at the top. Come down 1/2 an inch and attach that on there. Then I can fold this up out of the way slightly after I do a quick little pencil mark. I can then fold it up out of the way and then run some glue here to attach the two together. If you want to wait to attach these two together till after you put on this one where they overlap, if you want to put your pattern paper on here first and then attach this down, by all means you can do that. But that's just going to give you some stability. So that has a pocket and a pocket. And this has a pocket here and a pocket here. And then on the back side, you can go ahead and do the same thing. Whether you put, so if I put this one down at the bottom, maybe I have this one on top. And this is the one that's got, this one's got to go this way. Which way did I do it? Okay, this one's going to go up on the top. And maybe this one with the, I have the openings for both of these on the going up. If you wanted to have them the pockets turned to where you have the pockets going to the side, you can do that as well. It's totally up to you how you want to orient them. So if I put that one, if one's underneath, turning that one the wrong way. One's underneath. Maybe this one's on top. Or that one's back behind, this one's on top. Or I can put this one, maybe this one's behind, and this one's on top on the outside. So maybe I do this one here on the back this way. Attach it the same way. Do the U shape, and then flip it up and glue that down. And that's all you need to do for those pockets. And so you'll make 3 of these. I do want to show you then the inserts for all 3. So this is a base, all 3 pages done this exact same way, all with the envelopes. For the insert pages, all of them have an excuse me, the exact same size as we cut those flaps. This is a half sheet cut in half to 4 1/4 inches wide, and we've then cut it to 10 1/4. I've then scored a 3/8 inch score line on one end on each of them. And what we're going to do is we're going to put those tabs on opposing sides. And when we do that, it forms that sleeve. So I'm going to attach one end to start with. And then I'm going to put my pocket using my envelope in the middle, and then we'll attach the other end. So line this up right next to that fold. Attach that down. So now we can open this up. I've cut off the top or the bottom edge of my envelope. Same size as I used, that same envelopes as I used on here. And I am going to place this to where it's approximately 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom, because we want to allow for the tabs to attach from our binding. So I'm centering this. Now this is essentially not going to need to be glued down on the bottom. So I've got it in the placement of where I want it. I'm going to put glue just along one side. If I can get the glue to come out of my bottle. So I've got it going down one side. I'm going to flip this over into place. I'm not attaching the tab yet, but this is going to attach my glue there. Lift it up, making sure it's still in the same place. And then I'm going to apply my glue along that side. And then flip this over and attach it down. So it's going to form a pocket here and a pocket at this end. And this one's going to form the pocket at that end. And then I've got the pocket here in the middle. And it's got a bottom in it because it was an envelope. So then I can lift this up, peel that off, and stick that down. Now, so that is going to, as I said, that gives you those 3 pockets. If you like this, you can put this on all 3 of the page A's, or they can all be different. So if there's one of these 3 that you like more than the others, you can by all means make all 3 of them the same. So that's page A, insert 1. So page A, insert 2, instead of the white envelopes, I got a couple of coin envelopes that I went ahead and inked. They'll get covered with pattern paper. Same thing, tab at one end, 4 1/4 by 10 1/4, 3/8 inch tab on each end. I'm going to attach one of those. Line it up right next to the fold without going over. I feel like I'm in a game show. So then that will form that sleeve. Now these are going to go on the outside, and I'm going to line this up on my grid that I have here on my table so I know where my center line is. And I want my center, these to cross, overlap by about 1/4 of an inch. So my center, I'm going to extend this one about 1/8 of an inch past the center line, and I'm going to come up about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. Now I'm going to mark this. Just mark it right on the very edge so I can see it, but it's not really going to show. So I'm going to place glue from here to here, and here to here. No, I'm not. I'm going to place glue from here to here and here to here so that you can pass through here. So this one can either be at the top on this side, or it can be on the bottom, and the other side will be on the top. It doesn't really matter. So there's my little tick mark if I need to make it longer on the back side. I can. Alright, so I'm going to just do my glue. You might want to draw a line across there unless you're good at eyeballing. And then just like a right across there. Right across there. Again, making sure I'm still centered on my grid, because I want this to be overlapping about 1/8 of an inch, and I want to be about 1/4 inch up from that bottom. So then that becomes a pass-through pocket. Alright, so then on the back side, I'm going to do the same thing. Now this is going to, now you're going to come, because we went 1/8 of an inch over. If we go 1/8 of an inch over this way, we're overlapping by 1/4 of an inch. So I can now mark again, right at that edge. Make a better of a mark, and run my glue across and across, and I'm going to run on this edge, staying within that 1/4 inch. I have to go out and get more glue. So I'm going to add some glue along there. And attach that. So now I've got a pocket here. I've got the pockets formed by these, and a pocket here on the front side. Now that I've got this attached down, I can peel that up and finish that off. So that gives you pockets, opposing pockets, and then the pockets formed by these, as well as the pass-through pockets for some tags to go in. So that's insert number 2. Okay, number 3. Same thing with the 4 1/4 by 10 1/4 3/8 inch tab. Same thing on all 3 of them to cut the main cardstock. Same process. We're just going to attach one end and then put all the other goodies on there. Now with these, I've got a 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 that I've scored and folded at the center line. So then this becomes a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to slip this down to where one flap is down inside. And you can come up with whatever placement as to where you want it. I'm going to come up about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom and about 1/2 an inch in on the side. So I go ahead and get it placed where I want it. I can lift up the flap, and then I can mark here the top of the main pocket. I can then go in, and I'm going to glue in a U shape from that tab and around to form the pocket. Lift this up. Half an inch in from that fold, 3/4 of an inch up from the top, and then fold this over and stick that down. So then that's attached to the back side of this side. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to do the same thing with this one. It's going to slip down inside. I want it lining up with that one. So I'm 3/4 of an inch from the bottom, 1/2 an inch in from the side. Lift the flap up, mark. Flip this guy out of the way. Glue in a U shape to form my pocket. Placing a 1/2 inch over from the fold, 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom, pull this tab out of the way for the moment. Just flatten that out so that I can lay this over, lining everything up. Stick it down. And then pull this one up out of the way. Take the glue off that ran over a little bit. It always does that. So then I'm going to find the center, which is right here. I can mark this center. Now, I'm not going to extend beyond that 3/4 of an inch. I want to leave it open, that bottom 3/4, 1 inch to 3/4 of an inch. I want to leave that open for our binding. And I'm going to then just run some glue along that marked line at the center. I don't want to extend above this, at the top edge of this. So then I can just flip this down. So this has got a flap, it's got a pocket underneath there. And then there's a pocket here that goes to that center line, so it kind of tucks a little bit back behind this guy. Same thing on this side. It flaps up, pocket, and then there's a pocket that goes to the center here. So now I can lift up that edge, peel off this tape, tuck that under, and attach that down. So again, 4 pockets and then some real estate by having the flaps. So this is the 3rd insert. So you've got the flapped little pockets, you've got the coin envelope pockets, and you've got the staggered pockets with the single envelope. So that's our 3 inner pages of page A. So you're ready to go on now to page B, and I will also then be showing you how to attach these pages into your album and binding. So see ya on the next video. Thanks a bunch.